I'm joined today by Kobus Bester at the Simbra Information Day in Windhoek in Namibia. Kobus is the breed director for the Simbra in Southern Africa. He's also director of the LRF and the proud owner of Vleisberg Simbras in the Ventersdorp area. Kobus, welcome to Namibia.
Thank you very much. Always nice being here.
I hope you had a good experience thus far.
For sure, so far, definitely.
Thank you. You had a very interesting talk today. It was really enlightening and I learned a lot from you. Kobus, I just want to know, there's always the question of what are we looking for in a mother cow? And I think sometimes the mothers or the cows are a little bit underrated in the breeding program. And you mentioned that you like to select for good cows. Can you elaborate on that a little?
First of all, we need to understand and accept the fact that the cow forms the factory of your farming operation. She is the producer, but she's also the caretaker. Now, when we look at your cow factory, it is important that in any production system, you make sure that you limit the cost of production. Therefore, whenever you look at, and it's not negotiable, all females, all cows have to be functional sound. But one of the things that we seriously have to address throughout Southern Africa is really the maintenance cost of those cows. Therefore, we're placing a lot of emphasis on the size of the mature cow, not only the weight, also the hip height. We've adjusted our approach going forward, whereby we consider the so-called frame score of the animal, so that we really position ourselves in such a way that we can make improvement or see progress in terms of cow-calf efficiency. Because that is what's crucial. You need to be able to produce off of the veld. In other words, utilizing natural resources as far as you can, and you need to optimize that. That is where the crux of the matter is. Therefore, you also need to consider things like age at first calving, and I know in Namibia it's a challenge. The important thing is you have to farm in sync with nature, but we do so much effort goes into having animals earlier maturing in terms also of sexuality, being able to start reproducing at an earlier age. And it just happens that sometimes you do have heifers that conceive earlier and reconceive within 365 days from the previous calf. Now, is that a freak of nature, or is that something that's possible through selection? Yeah. Critically important, you have to farm in sync with nature. Always. That's not negotiable. So you have to make sure that animals can produce and reproduce off the veld, but we have to place some emphasis on, like I said, the maintenance cost, and that's predominantly driven by the frame score of the animal. In other words, her maintenance requirements. So that you need to have in place. And then you want to make sure that you have an animal that she must definitely be able to conceive timelessly. She needs to bring the calf into this life on her own, be able to get the calf to suckle as soon as possible, have a strong, healthy calf, be able to wean that calf. And then that calf needs to have the genetic ability to really be able to thrive under the production system, whether that calf goes to a feedlot, whether that calf forms part of a oxen or steer system on the farm. That doesn't really matter. What is important is that the calf needs to be produced in a manner that will be profitable up until that stage, and then be able to be finished off for the market also in a profitable manner by utilizing the growth curve of that young animal. And that is the responsibility of the cow herd to really do that. We know that the bull really has a major contribution towards the genetic progress. He's the driver of genetic progress, but the cow-calf operation can only be profitable as long as you can keep your maintenance cost of that operation.
Okay, so one last question. What is the perfect way to cook a Simbra steak?
There are, of course, many ways to do it, but I think there are a couple of things that are quite important. I prefer to either make use of a dry marinating, or I don't marinate at all. Dry marinating, as you know, is where you just salt it with pink salt for a couple of hours. Sometimes I even do it for 7 days. Okay. But what I believe is quite important, let's say if you don't do the dry marinating thing, it's important that you choose the correct steak to start off with. You must be
one.
able, step one,
Out of
choose,
the fridge.
choose correctly. Make sure that you have enough fat. Make sure that you can see some marbling, and also very important, the color. Then before you put it onto the grill, you have to make sure it's room temperature and it's got to be dry.
Amen. Amen.
And then a warm fire, enough heat to really seal it or sear it properly. You turn it twice and that's it.
And how do you eat it?
I prefer my steak to be medium. Therefore, I sometimes adjust accordingly for the thickness of the steak. I like to actually make use of the so-called plunky steak method, whereby we brine and we cut and we brine and we cut and we eat, and preferably lots of it.
And please just enlighten me for a second. Does steak need to rest? Are they tired after the braai? Do they need to rest? Because that is
Yeah.
always a discussion.
The challenge always is, how hungry are you?
Oh, okay.
So if you're hungry enough, the thing is, and that's what nice about this plunky steak way of going about these days. If it's not to your liking, leave it to rest,
Exactly.
and you can go along. The critical thing is, steak needs to be juicy, juiciness, tenderness. Those are. But the main thing is, if you struggle to chew it, then it's not a pleasant experience. Therefore, you do what you have to do, and just make sure it's good quality steak, and make sure you enjoy it.
Thank you, Cobus. Thank you, everyone. This is Martinique Scott from Real Time Agri in Namibia, and we were interviewing Cobus Bester from Simbra, Southern Africa.